Hey, everybody, it's Diane Armitage with Best of Laguna Beach, back again at the Mighty KXFM 104.7 Community Radio. And let me tell you, it's a good thing that I'm here today to brighten your day, since we've just heard that the time change happens this weekend. I hate the time change. 4:58 for the sunset.
Not good.
It's deadly. Okay, so as you can probably hear in the background, that's Ruben. But let me go through my little spiel here. What an honor it is to be here with Laguna's only radio station, streaming around the world. You can always check in at our website, kxfmradio.org, or download the KXFM Radio app at Google Play or the App Store. Here on Best of Laguna Beach, you're hearing my honest, completely objective perspective from a 25-year resident as I talk about the best events, food, and cocktails in this town and interview our amazing chefs, artists, and more, including the great Ruben Flores in our magical vortex town, Laguna Beach. The radio show is also a podcast beamed around the world and now also on my YouTube channel. Best of Laguna Beach on YouTube. Woohoo! Yeah. So when you see the videos there, please like the videos. And if you don't mind subscribing, because it's free, doesn't cost you anything. Or you can also go to bestoflagunabeach.com and subscribe for free there to get ongoing news. I also want to let you know that today, Miss Macy Gray Smith is joining us. And she is my dear friend.
3 names.
Dog. Every dog in Laguna Beach has 3 names.
Whatever happened to Scamp? So I got a question for you right off the bat.
Okay.
When is your anniversary?
For being at the radio station?
You said 25 years.
Oh, yeah. I moved here. My gosh, it is October. I moved here October 8th, 2000.
So actually it's 26 now.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, we got to
change
that. Yeah.
Wow. And I've been on the radio station. I think I came in around the first week of October. Last year.
That's your anniversary also.
And Ruben, of course, is my famous BFF. He owns Laguna Nursery. He also owns a giant that's getting gianter by the minute.
Landscape firm.
Landscape design.
Visionscape.
Visionscape.
Yeah.
Landscape architecture.
We are doing some phenomenal work. It's so exciting, you know? It's exciting to be able to put into play the things that you know are important to your client, because that's what you're doing, right? But it's also important to the earth. So you can put in a tree or you can put in a tree. And the distinction is one that gives back. You know, there's the right tree for every situation, obviously.
Well, every tree gives back.
Yes, exactly. But if you're trying to do a sustainable garden, which we should be all doing, so that you can go out and pick something from the tree, whether it's foliage so that it gives a scent to the house, whether it's fruit so that you can eat, whether it's a pollinator so it gives back to all of your neighborhood, whether it's giving back shade, whether it's a deciduous tree that's going to give you sun in the winter time. So, I mean, there's so many things, and choosing the right way.
A tree that houses my great horned owls.
There you go, right? And they're so important. Yes.
Or the osprey.
Yeah, that's right across from the nursery.
Right.
And you have to have trees of a certain height in order to house those birds or get them to come and hang out. And you don't want all the trees at that height, because then that's a forest, but we don't have that. But we can sporadically do one here, there, and another. And I love that I'm working on some big projects and some small projects. And it helps me to ensure that I am designing for the purpose. Because, you know, people say to you, well, what style do you use? It's not really a style. You're doing something appropriate to that particular location and for that particular client.
And the architecture.
And absolutely. You can't fight the architecture, and it might be ugly architecture. So what you might be doing is disguising and screening, but you're doing something appropriate for the job site. Yes. And that's what's important. And I tell all of my clients, I want to be friends with you 10, 15, 20 years out, as long as we're alive. And so I'm going to try and make the choices that you on a daily basis are going to be glad that we made, because you're going to reap those benefits that are specific to you.
Well, and you know, most people think, oh, yeah, landscape architect. You do pools, you do fountains, you do big giant statues that you bring in from France. You do all kinds of things.
Fire pits and fireplaces and of course, to code. Yes. And that's getting trickier and trickier and trickier. And, you know, in Southern California, I think we're just catching up to Europe. And that is as far as using the exterior like the interior. 30 years ago, I was doing a job in the south of France, and I was staying with the architect at his house just inland from Nice. And every morning you went outside, whether it was cold or hot, and you had breakfast at the outdoor dining table. Because their house was so small, and yet he was an architect. He could have built anything he wanted. He wanted a small house, but you went outside with your bedspread. You took your bedspread off of the bed, you put it over your shoulders, you went outside if it was cold. There was a cappuccino waiting for you at the table, and you waited until the next person was done with the bathroom till you could go shower. And so you chatted with you didn't go to your phone because we didn't have cell phones then, or you didn't go to the TV. You went out to the breakfast table, dining table, and you chatted with your housemates. I mean, it was great. They use the outdoors, and we're doing that more and more. But, of course, when we go outdoors, you have to have a fire pit, and you have to have a TV, and you have to have speakers, and you have to have all of that.
The big outdoor bar.
Right.
And then you have to have the giant barbecue thing.
Right. All of it.
On the smoker.
Yeah.
And like my friends in Brazil who got a pizza oven, and they've never made a pizza in their lives.
Well, Nelson and I were fortunate enough to be invited to a locals pizza movie night in Bluebird Canyon area.
Aww.
And it's a backyard screen that they set up. And they do like 4 or 5 movies a year. And you bring your lawn chair with a low back, and you sit down and watch, and you never know what movie it's going to be. And this is Dave and Anthony, and they're the best people. And they have a pizza oven, and they actually make 4 or 5 pizzas for everybody that's there in the backyard going to watch the movie. And you have to bring a bottle of wine or another dish. And it's just such a great Laguna Beach locals. People in Laguna are beautiful, wonderful people.
Aren't they that?
And sharing, and it was just a great night last night. We watched The Omen.
Watch that. I watched the first one, and then I watched the remake. Yeah, that's the
little
scary
kid.
one. Yeah, he's a monster. Are those the guys that you mentioned that you pass on your way to your house? Speaking of spooky movies, we have a lot to talk about today, and I'm going to cover some of the Halloween stuff. But I am taking care of my friend's dog, and so I'm spending time at their house. So they're up above Diz's, and they have a beautiful view. I mean, I live in Table Rock. I live right on the ocean. But living up there and having a little bit more of a just giant ocean view is really cool. So Macy and I, the little dog and I, we watched Weapons, which I refused to go to this summer because I don't like horror movies. They scare me too much. But I read Stephen King. I love Stephen King. It was crazy. So if you guys really want to get scared and you haven't seen this movie yet, it's not like a slasher flick. It's like, I would say it is, my gosh, it's like that Parasite movie. Remember that?
Oh, yeah. That was
kind of like
great.
Parasite meets...
Korean movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hansel and Gretel meets that zombie movie with Will Smith meets The Shining.
Wow. All in one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really...
Well, another movie note, Nelson and I were fortunate enough to go to the closing ceremonies for the Newport Beach Film Festival, and we saw Frankenstein.
Oh, yeah.
Jacob Elordi. It is a gruesome 2 hours. I mean, it is really, really gory. The cinematography, Benicio del Toro, right, is unbelievable, beautiful. So it's incredible. But you kind of miss out on the handsomeness of Elordi because he's in these god-awful costumes and his getup, to make him look gross. But it is incredible movie. Gory, good.
Well, you've just opened the door for me to talk about what's happening for Halloween this week.
Hey, that's right. It's the week.
It's the week. And there's not a lot happening until Thursday, but there's an interesting thing that Laguna Beach Live is doing at the Rivian South Coast Theater. And they are doing Shadows and Strings, and they are showing the 1922 horror classic Nosferatu.
Yeah, right.
Performed live by the Melissa Hassan String Quartet. Their choreography is with the movie.
Oh, so they're playing during the movie.
Yes.
Oh, very cool.
The original horror movie with a killer new musical reimagining. Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
And as usual, the Rivian doesn't charge for these things, but they do like you to register.
Yeah.
And the doors open at 7.
It's a great movie. Have you seen it?
I've seen the remake that came out recently. I haven't seen the 1922 one.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one.
That's got to be kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to stay on the run for the Halloween stuff.
Go for it.
Okay, October 31st. First thing is our own Robert England is getting his star.
Yay! Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Yeah. Guess which number this star is?
Oh, I have no idea.
How many stars do you think are up there?
1,200?
He gets the 2,826th star. 226 stars are up there.
Wow. Did you see June Lockhart had 2?
How did she get 2?
TV and movies.
Oh, I didn't know
So she got
that.
2 separate ones.
Well, John Carpenter is also getting his star on Halloween. So for those of you who don't know, Robert England is our Laguna Beach local. He's been here forever, and he was Freddy Krueger.
Right.
And he created that whole... Nightmare on Elm Street, that whole series. And I was doing a little bit of research on this. So his thing is October 31st at 11:30 a.m., 644 Hollywood Boulevard in front of the Larry Edmonds Book shop. You can also stream it live at walkoffame.com, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah.
But, okay, so here's what's interesting. The Nightmare on Elm Street is considered one of the 20 top horror classics of all time. And critics and film historians say it helped inaugurate a style of horror films called rubber reality, where dreams, hallucinations, and altered states equal or have an end with violence. So it's the boundary between sleep, dream, and waking. And it's the playground for the monster, is what they say. And then I saw a list, 10 horror movies that were clearly inspired by A Nightmare on Elm Street. So there's at least 10 movies that were made in copying and homage to this amazing, amazing series. And he did an amazing job. Okay, so then, after that, the annual Oaks and Brook Street Halloween Block Parade and Party is going on. That starts around 4 o'clock on the 31st. And Oaks and Brook Street is one of those, like Christmas light decorations that get out of control and the neighbors start competing with each other. Well, this was a Halloween thing where the neighbors started competing and then the streets started competing. And so now the city shuts down the two streets and all of those people there have to provide a lot of candy.
Yeah.
A lot of candy. And they go all out.
They go all out. And you have to, you really have to applaud the people on those two streets because it's a lot of work.
Oh, my God.
And it's for, just a few days and it's enjoyed and everybody looks forward to it, but it's definitely a competition. How do you outdo yourself the year before? And so thank you, all of you that participate in that because it really does help to create a great little town we have. Yeah.
Well, and KXFM, our radio station, the one that we're sitting at right now, it's doing 2:30 to 5:30 live music, and they're doing a spooktacular runway show, games, raffle prizes, and, of course, treats. This reminds me, I have to tell you a very quick story. When I first bought my first house, I was in one of those, what I call big wheel neighborhoods. And I bought it because I had a giant St. Bernard, so I needed a big yard.
Yeah.
And so I moved in the fall, and I asked one of the neighbors how many bags of candy I should get. And he just looks at me and says, at least 30, maybe 35 bags. And I said, 35 bags? And he was like, oh, yeah, it's just,
solid.
Overrun. And so I went and I bought maybe 20, 22 bags. And I mean, it was a huge amount of candy. And my boyfriend, who was hysterical, he was so funny. He and I were giving out the candy and all that kind of thing. And we were having a great time because it's the first time I've gotten to give away candy in my first house. And we ran out of candy. So he started giving them canned goods for my pantry.
That went over big.
It was hysterical. The kids would be like, he'd hand them tomato soup. He'd say, take this to your mother. You're really going to enjoy this. And they'd look at him and they'd take it. They all took the canned food.
Something.
Okay, so then if you are still rocking and rolling, there are two big Halloween bashes that happen after the Oaks and Brook Street Halloween Block Party and Parade. One, the biggest one, of course, is the Mozambique Party, annual giant Halloween bash. And they have giant musicians coming in, Slapback. Slapback is phenomenal. If you like Prince, they even have performers in that came from the Time band that was the competitors to Prince and Purple Rain. It's unbelievable. Tickets are on sale, not many left, so hurry or you will be howling at the door.
Moon is in 8 days from today.
So that happens on like the 2nd or 3rd of
Yes,
November.
but it should be a beautiful night if there's no cloud cover.
Well, they say we're supposed to have amazing weather.
Right. So it should be beautiful lit night from the moon for Halloween. That should be cool.
Yes. Well, the Cliff is also doing a big party. They always do a big party, asking everyone to dress up in 80s style, awarding gift cards for best costume. And they have Perfect Blend Band playing, and that is like a very, very, very popular band at the Cliff. I haven't heard them, but Andrew, the GM there, says they're just his favorite. He absolutely loves them. No cover charge there. First place award is $150.
Not bad.
There are haunted houses around us, but nothing close. But the number one in all of the best haunted houses in Yelp is the Castle House in Huntington Beach, and it's a real-life castle on Magnolia at Bermuda. Do you know where that is? So they open it yearly, and if you give $10, you end up at the front of the line as a VIP, but it's a really big deal. And then on November 1st, if you still haven't had enough, that is the Dia de los Muertos.
Sí.
Yes, sí. Live bands, mariachi, craft food, beverage, ofrendas. It's where you give offerings in honor of your dead.
Yes, offerings.
Offerings, yes.
Yeah.
And that's at that La Plaza Park where they have the farmers market by Hennessy's in Dana Point.
Dana Point.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a big deal.
Yeah.
And they have an event trolley that goes back and forth from the Dana Point Harbor parking structure and all that kind of thing. So there's a lot there going on. And then I want to mention two other things. November 2nd is the Laguna Playhouse premieres Beside Myself, which is a new comedy about a woman who goes through a medical procedure and creates an unexpected double dose of identity crisis. Not quite sure what's going to happen there, but I'm going to the opening night, so I'm looking forward to it.
Nice.
Yeah. And then we've got two giant events both running on the same time frame, but I want to give it back to you for a minute before we talk about the Coast Film Festival and the Laguna Art Museum, both having their big deals from November 1st through
Same time. Yeah.
9th or 10th.
The Rivian is doing 2 movies, right? So that's one of them. There's another movie that's also a Halloween-themed movie.
Oh, you mean on Halloween night?
No, I mean juxtaposing nights. In other words, there's a couple different events going on at the Rivian with movies regarding Halloween. So, and we want to just say thank you to the Rivian for being such a great provider of entertainment for otherwise not entertaining place. And so, and it's warm and it's beautiful inside. And so if you don't want to go to the Promenade and get cold, and although the nights have been phenomenal right now.
It's true.
But the Rivian is a good place to go hang.
Well, I mean, they're housing most of the movies for the Coast Film Festival.
Right.
And as is the Laguna Cultural Arts Center.
Right. And then a couple at the Forum, right? That little theater in...
Festival of Arts?
Yeah.
Actually, Festival of Arts has 3 big days, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at the end, 7th, 8th, and 9th. And they have all-day passes where they have films going, lots of small short blocks is what they call them. And they have different themes on those days. So we can get into that. I want to talk about that because it's absolutely amazing what Ben Warner has brought to this town.
One thing that Laguna Nursery is doing is that we're doing a dog photo contest. So every year we put out a lot of pumpkins at the nursery.
Oh, Macy.
And so it's $100 to the best photograph. So you have to go to the nursery. There's no standing on the pumpkins, no sitting on the pumpkins because they are real pumpkins. So it's about you to be creative in how you display your face and your dog alongside these mammoth pumpkins that are at the nursery. And then you go ahead and go on Instagram to Laguna Nursery and post it, and then we're going to go ahead and offer that up to the winner. And we'll do
Who's
that.
the judge?
Me.
Oh,
you and I. How about you and I?
Okay.
And so, and let's just say we're going to have that available up through November the 10th.
Okay, so when do you start it on what day?
Starting now.
Oh.
Starting today.
Okay.
You can go by day and night, and use your flash if it's in the evening. Otherwise, just go in the day. People have already gone by, and you see them, and they're, oh, honey, come over here. I'm going to lay down take this picture. It's very funny because they're enjoyable. I mean, you see these big, massive pumpkins, and of course, what everybody does is knocks on them with their knuckles just to see if they're real. Oh, honey, they're real, and it makes me laugh.
You see, you don't know that Ruben watches everything on the security cam.
And so it's a hoot to see everybody. Oh, look, they really are real. And so, but yeah, why not have fun with it and then post it on Instagram, Laguna Nursery, and let's see what happens.
I think that's awesome.
And they're cute. And if you have a little dog, the dog can sit on top of the pumpkin. That's
Macy
fine. But no St. Bernards, right?
Yeah, okay.
Because they're bigger than people.
Yeah, indeed. Okay, so before we get into talking about the Coast Film Fest and the Laguna Art Museum, let's give the mic over to Ruben so he can talk about what he wants to talk about.
Well, you want me to hit the agenda?
You do whatever you want.
There's so much going on in our town, people. And the frustrating part is most of us aren't even aware of what's happening. There is huge projects that are coming up tomorrow. So if you can please come to the city council 5:00. And of course, I can't tell you at what time the particular agenda item that you've got the most concern about, but there's everything from tree maintenance to Lang Park and a pool to raising the heights at downtown to parking structure downtown, to a new fire station downtown. There's just a lot. It's just strange that it's all being crammed in one night, and it's close to Halloween, so maybe people are preoccupied doing other things and you haven't heard about it, so you're not really attuned to what's going on. But there's a lot of things, and what happens is if it passes, then it's too late to speak about later on. Mm-hmm. And then you hear everybody on Nextdoor and on Facebook saying, well, had I known. And I said, well, this might be your notice that you're going to get. You can go online very easily and go to the Laguna Beach City website and look up agenda for the city council meeting, and it's all on there. But there's like,
I mean, how many outings do they have on the
like they want to
agenda?
add an additional $138,000 for the landscape service for next year, and I'm like, is there even a maintenance company? Because half of the areas I see I mean, look at Jarvis Park. It looks like there hasn't been a set of pruners in there for years, and so yet we're going to give them another $138,000. Is that the best place to put our $138,000? How come it's taking so long to rebuild the boardwalk at Main Beach? And I'm not saying that they're slow, but they could say on the city website, this is what's happening with the boardwalk, and it's taking this, and it's going to have this happen. You know, let us know. But you don't know. You just drive by and go like, wow, it still looks like a mess. And then there's an issue with trees that's going to be talked about on Tuesday night also. And so there's a lot of big issues going on, not little ones, big issues.
For those of you who don't know Lang Park, it's up by the old Gelsons, right across the street by the church. And they're talking about putting in a pool and pickleball courts. And they've already gone through the pickleball thing, and the people that are next door were just irate. And I'm putting a smaller pickleball court into a client's house. And, you know, it can be a loud endeavor. So you've got to make sure that what you're doing is compatible with the location. Just like I say, there's a right tree for every location. Mm-hmm. There's a right activity at every park, you know, and I don't know if it was you or somebody said, well, why did they put the pickleball courts over there, over by the Montage next to Ruby's at the new community center, where you can make as much noise as you want and no one's going to hear you. Yeah.
But, you know, to put it next to that set of homes that are right next to Lang, I don't know how smart that is. People, if you don't want pickleball courts in Lang Park, you should come.
Here's another quick thing about pickleball courts. A lot of people don't know that the hitting the pickleballs with the certain rackets that they use are actually louder. And so that's an issue for neighbors. But my business partner, Bruce, and I, he's developed a huge pickleball empire. He's developing that down in Dallas, and it's all indoors. I mean, most of it's indoors. Mm. And there are some places that are taking over big warehouses and making them into pickleball courts indoors, which solves a lot of the problem.
Malls, as you use malls for.
Yeah, exactly. Right. You could have tournaments in malls.
Right.
I know everyone loves pickleball and everyone wants to participate in it, but there just seems to be that issue of where would we put it and where would it make sense? Okay, what else is going on at the agenda?
Trees is a continued issue. And as much as the city is open to listening to the comments, if you have professionals, why do the people have to tell you what needs to be done? You know?
You mean professional tree people?
Tree people, professional people,
arborists.
Staff. You know, why don't they have a dude on a bike or on a golf cart that goes around and looks at every city tree at least once a week to tell you that, hey, that brand new tree that was out in front of Orange Inn is dead again.
But they don't need a dude on a bike or a golf court because they have you doing it.
See, that's what I mean. And I would
and
rather be singing their praises and saying how great, because in front of that surf shop next to the taco stand, there's two firewheel trees. And of course, they got it from the books that you can put them in. I'm like, no, they really don't like salt breeze. So that building, that surf shop building, the blue and white one, protects these two trees, and they're in bloom right now. And the blooms are massive, red, beautiful.
Oh.
And that's why they're called firewheel trees. But the staking on them is preposterous, and the pruning on them is absurd. But they're hanging in there. And
it sounds like a Mary Poppins movie.
Yeah, it's just not good. We need to get on board with really getting a tree program that works. I'm going to go ahead and redraw my design for Jarvis Park because it's a park, and a park is usually more than a weed patch. The park should be something that residents can enjoy, not walk by and go like, what is that landscape area? And so if you go to Brooks, where the tile steps that are done by Marlo Bartels, beautiful blues that could be used in the Jarvis Park. Put what I call a poet's or a writer's amphitheater there, and it could be used for numerous different events. We can start a poet, artists.
Well, I think the Third Street Writers would love
right,
that.
and it's our only shade park, and it could be really incredibly beautiful. And I actually proposed it with Georgia Puma when she was president of the Garden Club, probably 10 years ago or so, and they heard us, and nothing happened. So I'm going to give it a try again. I'm pasting and cutting and putting together what my design would be. So I just think we need to.
In the world to do that right now.
I just think we need to.
I love how you are that committed to this.
Well, I live here.
Yeah.
And I drive by all of these places all the time, and I see how important it is for the people that live here. We should go out and enjoy these things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Okay, I'm off. Your turn. We're going to get back to that.
Okay. We're already a half hour into the show. This is Diane Armitage, KXFM Radio 104.7, doing my best at Laguna Beach. And I'm here with my BFF, Ruben, Flores. And we're talking about all the stuff going on in town, all the events going on in town, and the things that are getting voted on in this town, all that kind of thing. So what I was mentioning earlier is that we have two big festivals happening, both starting on November 1st. One is the Laguna Art Museum Art and Nature event, 13th annual. So it's an annual initiative celebrating the dynamic exchange between artistic expression and environmental awareness. So there's all kinds of outdoor art, all kinds of free events for all ages. They have all kinds of kids events. It's a huge agenda, a giant agenda. And each year they bring in an immersive artist. This year it's Ana Teresa Fernandez. So she's speaking on November 6th. And she's talking about the concept and installation and activation of what she's putting in place. This is always this huge thing that happens with a lot of us participating on Main Beach. And it's always really cool. She has called it this year magical nonfiction. And she says it's where unimaginable conditions are the reality. And I seek to portray dreamscapes of what's possible. So her whole focus is on SOS, a multidimensional project incorporating sculpture, performance, and photography that focuses on our ocean's dire need for help. Save our seas. So what's really cool about this is that Laguna Dance is getting involved with that ocean, Save Our Seas thing. And there's synchronized swimming happening, too. Yes,
cool.
On the 8th around the SOS. And on November 10th, there's an SOS paddle out. So anybody who has any kind of paddle board, kayak, whatever, canoe, board, it starts at 10 a.m. on November 10th, and that's the end of the show. So they have a lot going on there. Meanwhile, Coast Film Festival is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I think they have over 90 films.
Yeah, over 90.
Yeah, and they're doing, this year, they do an annual showcase of adventure and documentary films and stories from the mountains to the sea, curated to entertain, inform, and inspire. Now, the thing that I love about this, I was chatting with Ben Warner over coffee the other day at Zink's, is that they're really making it immersive as well. They're bringing in all these people who are connected not only to the film, but connected to the subject and the content of the film so that they can have these discussions with the audience about the films. So there's full-length films and there's these short film blocks like Animal Kingdom, Everyday Wonders, Our Oceans, Adventure Shorts, Gravity and Grace, Healed by Nature. All of these are short film blocks that they put together. And like I said, most of them are at the Rivian Theater or the Laguna Cultural Art Center.
Which is upstairs at the Promenade.
Correct.
Right.
And they also have outdoor activities with the Laguna Canyon Foundation. And they also have, on Tuesday, November 4th, Hobie's 75th anniversary event. It's a locals night. So that's going to have all kinds of live music and fun. And then they have another big live music party at the Promenade on the 6th. And then everything pretty much moves to the Festival of Arts. So Friday the 7th is Mountain plus Snow Night. Saturday, November 8th is Ocean plus Surf Pass. And that runs into Sunday as well. Everything, the all-access pass is $39.43, and you have access to everything for the whole day except for the Irvine Bowl at night. And that's because Jack Johnson is playing on the 8th and the 9th.
And it's sold out, right?
Oh, man. I mean, as soon as I got that email, I applied for the lottery, and I didn't get it. Did you get it?
No.
No. Which is a bummer because he's
And
playing.
I would love to go hear him.
I know.
Yeah.
And he's done 2 movies. So, I mean, the movies are going to be shown each night, and then he's going to be talking about them and playing. And it's actually the debut of his world tour. So it's a really cool thing to have him involved in this at this level. And I would have loved to have seen it, but...
And how great is that for the Coast Film Festival?
Oh, my gosh.
We've been chatting with 2 of the producers, I guess you'd call them. And my good friend Ted, who is the Q&A, is the marketing team for the Newport Beach Film Festival. And I remember 20 years ago or so when he was starting this out. And I see how Coast Film Festival is doing, and they're really doing great. So I'm happy that it's taken hold and it's got such a good grip, even in its fledgling years.
I think it is so accelerated because of people like your guys at Newport Beach Film Festival. I mean, thank God for Robert Redford and Sundance, because he really put film festivals on the map in the United States,
Right,
I think.
right.
Now, I know Nelson knows of many, many other film festivals, but just the fact that Robert Redford was so committed to these indie films really began that movement, I think, in the United States. And there are film festivals all over the world. And I have a friend who has a film that's currently touring like a musician.
Yeah, right.
It goes from this festival to this festival, and that's why you get all of the big, big winner at Cannes, big winner at Sundance, big winner at here.
And Coast Film Festival is more of a documentary film festival, correct?
Right now, yes.
Yes, exactly, right now. Because as it broadens and grows, then it can be something else. We had a friend who had a film, Girls in the Band, which was about jazz women in the fledgling years of jazz and their contributions. And there was so few women. And then if they were black women, they were even pushed further behind the bus. And so it was a great movie, Girls in the Band, if you want to see a movie, documentary. And just from that personal experience, seeing her go through what she did, and then to see the acknowledgement she got. She went to the Palm Springs Film Festival and got the award for the best, I think it was the best documentary. And so you see how these little film festivals are so important, and they can really make or break your movie. So it's great. And the acknowledgement for someone's hard work is great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I just think, and they're bringing in so many filmmakers, which I think is just so cool with these film festivals. So,
right.
And at the Festival of Arts, they have a young filmmakers panel where they bring in all these kids.
And Laguna Young is 60. What is the age of a young film festival, young film artist?
Well, I mean, anywhere from 17 to about 30 is what they've got on the
very
panel.
Cool.
It's
Nice.
really cool.
Yeah.
So you can go to coastfilmfestival.com and you can get your tickets individually, and there's gazillion choices. I don't even know how you choose. Or you go with the all admission pass. You buy, I think it's just a little over $100, and it gets you into all the movies. So I think it's going to be really cool. We'll have to sit down and figure out what we're going to watch, because I don't think Nelson's going to be here, right?
I don't know. There's some fudging going on in contracts and which movie, and it's always in flux with him.
Right,
It's always in flux.
Well, I was thinking that Nelson was going to be away from us for a little while he's working on a movie, but maybe he'll be with us and he can help us choose which movies we're going to go see.
Couple other items happening in town.
Yes.
We all heard Heidi's incredible interview with Mo.
Yes. And it was at KXFM Radio,
Right.
104.7.
And
it was amazing.
And it's nice to get that perspective. And it seems as though it's tied in a bow right now from that perspective.
So give our listeners a little background in a sentence.
Yeah, I don't even know if I can. All I know is that, Mo Honick had umpteen properties in our town. And I remember going to the Laguna Beach business breakfast, and he spoke quite elaborately about how he was going to untarnish this little town called Laguna Beach, and he could do it. And it was a little off-putting. But, when you have big plans and in your mind what you think you're going to do, maybe that's the mindset that you have. I don't know. It was off-putting to me. But he had all these holdings, and I even was renting from him at one of the spaces. And something happened, things fell apart, and there was even a play on some of the properties where it was two opposing people that were both investors, and it got ugly. But it seems like all of that now is cleaned up.
Well, he kind of got pushed out of all of the umpteen properties.
Right.
And his investor group moved in.
Mom.
Right. Called MOM.
Right.
Mom. And so they moved in to operate and manage the properties.
Right.
And now they're all back in Mo's hands.
Yes. And
it's been about 3 years that they had it in their control, I think.
Right. And so, some of these are major player properties, like the Hotel Laguna and what was the Holiday Inn on Clio, on the Canyon Art Affair, Terra Festival of Arts, and then also
the Hive.
The whole Hive there.
The Hive is where we have the Laguna Beer
Oliver's.
Company and Oliver's and Laguna Canyon Kitchen. It's right next to Sawdust.
Right.
That whole complex.
70 degrees.
7 degrees, which is the
7
huge
degrees.
event center.
Yeah. So, all of those are his holdings.
And then that whole block up there by Royal Hawaii.
And he had the car wash. That was his as well.
Really?
So, and smart man, he bought all these properties. And because he's been going through some difficulties, most of them haven't had the care and maintenance on them that they should. Mm-hmm. And so maybe now each one of those properties slowly can be turned into the jewel that they should represent for our town. Mm-hmm. And so that's my finger crossed hope that things go forward beautifully and that we start to see that polish come back to our town. Because when you are a major holder and
more commercial real estate than anybody else in this town.
Yeah, and you're losing control of that. Nobody wants to maintain it. Nobody wants to sweep it. Nobody wants to repaint it. And so it starts to go downhill. And if you're next door to that place, you just fall subject to what's happening as the bigger player looks bad and you're next door.
Well, and Heidi Miller had a great perspective on that too, because she was next door.
Right. Well, and she's in 2 of his properties. So that.
And so, other write-ups, but I thought she did a stellar job of talking with him. And he's fought hard to get these properties back.
Right.
So we'll see what's next on the agenda.
Right.
For him.
And what he's proposing, how he's going to do it. I'm sure he needs at least a while to just catch his breath because it's much.
I would think that this whole time frame, he's still planning years.
Yeah.
But I just really hope that something can happen with the Hotel Laguna soon, because it's such an iconic. It's not only iconic, it's economically iconic in our town.
Right.
And it was the 3rd largest employer in our town, and it was also the 3rd highest in tax revenue for the city. And so that's a big thing that's been missing since 2017.
He's a developer, correct? So then there's another developer, Dornan.
Yes.
Who, and I'm just saying things, I mean, obviously I'm not privy to the legal paperwork, but it looks like he won a lawsuit against the city and is going to be able to develop Rimrock Canyon.
Now, where is Rimrock Canyon?
So you go up Temple Hills, right after you make that strong turn to go up.
Right.
It's to the right as you're going up. So it's about 3 streets up. And it's a beautiful dead-end pair of streets. There's Lower Rimrock and Rimrock. And then they dead end to this beautiful open space area. But it now is able to be developed. And
it's also been in contention for a few years. Yeah.
There's been a couple, and there's a couple of different sections there. And there's that Rimrock area. There's another one off of another area of Temple Hills where there was another property dispute. But it seems like there's a few different lawsuits that the city is up against. The other article that came out was about how much we're paying in past city manager pensions. So there's a lot of outflow. Do we really have enough money to also put up a parking structure in the village entrance and to do a new fire station and to
take over the canyon
and to put a new pool at Lang Park and to do the undergrounding of the canyon?
Oh, no, our parking meters may be doing better than we think.
Yeah. But at Aliso Beach, let's put 75 more parking meters. I would like to see one of those ticket number things so that as they're talking about agenda items, it starts going ding, 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 and then they add another $400 million on it. And then now we're going to talk about this fire station, ding, 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 and then it goes up and up and up and up and up, so that you can see what's going on because we talk...
Like the $1 trillion debt of the United States.
Right, so that you can see in real time what the numbers are, because if you look at them in isolation, this looks so important, we need to do this and this.
That's true.
And then you look at the next one in isolation, yes, we need to spend this much money on this and this. We have to play pickleball. And then but if you see the tickets going up, then you might be, wait a minute.
I know for a fact when I was working with Dana Point, I was helping set up Visit Dana Point, the tourist board there, and it was being funded by 4 of the big hotels in Dana Point. So I was in a lot of city council meetings and getting to know the city council members and everything. And that was right as they were making the decision to change up the whole Lantern District and bring in the big condos with the retail and below and all that kind of thing, and put in the big trees that were the welcome centers and put the big bridge in, the cross pedestrian bridge.
And they did it all.
They did it all, and they almost cleaned out the entire pot.
Oh, really, huh?
Really almost cleaned out the entire pot.
Wow.
And they were getting dangerously close to that, and they said, no, we're moving forward, because if we don't do this, what happens?
Yeah. Well, we were having a discussion at the house, and the discussion is, how can they be putting all this stuff on the agenda and pretending that they can pay for it all? And I said, well, people at the city aren't dumb. And maybe what they're doing is looking ahead 10 years at what kind of revenues we're going to need in order to make everything work. And so that's why they're trying to raise the height to get more revenues from residences or businesses. I don't know.
Goodness, can you imagine trying to raise the height of those buildings
That's
downtown?
on the agenda.
Bruce Russo and I have had discussions about it because it's a much gnarlier monster.
Well, if nobody has read, the Promenade's going to be closed for about a year, right?
Really? A whole year?
Forest.
Yeah.
So I don't know how you, as a vendor selling sundresses, are going to be able to live when your store is inaccessible. Or let's just say you can still open the door, but nobody can get in. Maybe they are going to be able to get in, but if parking has slowed the traffic, how is inability to get there easily going to slow down the traffic? So each one of those people, you just know that they're going to go through the burden. I remember when the macaroon place was talking about how they were going to be affected when they were going to do this unbelievable construction on Coast Highway. That was the first time I heard somebody, and they didn't actually have tears, but when they spoke, I felt their anguish on how we just opened and all of this stuff is happening and we're not going to make it. And then they ended up getting even into a better spot, that's
right
next to Johnny Rockets, and they have, and it seems like they're doing well.
Well, next to now.
What was Johnny Rockets? Yeah. And so,
I mean, Wild Taco says that because of the construction, that was the last straw for them.
Yeah.
Because there was just not enough access, and they're right on the corner.
Right.
So, I mean, I just think if the focus is on economic development, helping our restaurants, helping our retailers, that should be the primary point.
Right.
And everything comes down to that. And then we build the pickleball courts and the pools and this and that. But where are we supporting these people who have committed their livelihoods to this town? That's where I really want to see the biggest decisions happening.
And I don't know, did you participate in that recent Laguna Beach survey?
I did. I have opinions about it, though.
Yeah. It just didn't seem like it covered enough.
It didn't differentiate the tourists.
Right.
Because we have day trippers, and they are wealthy, and they're wonderful, and they come here to eat, and they come here to enjoy the arts and the festivals, and we have day trippers who aren't those people. Right. And so we have different kinds of tourists that are coming into this town and spending time in this town, and some are investing in the town, and many are not.
And there's very few of them in the town right now.
Right.
We are so sleepy right now.
So sleepy,
And
yes.
as a resident, I love it. But as a business owner, I hate it. So I understand both of those. I do understand both of those. And I feel for all of the businesses right now. You drive by and you'll see one or two restaurants really cranking, the ones that are the favorites. But then you'll see all the others like, my heart goes out every time I go by that big old used to be Chinese place.
Q Terrace.
Q Terrace.
I know, and we still haven't gotten in there.
It's such a phenomenal space that I know of from pictures, but I haven't gone in. So, I mean, they're trying, but I just can't see how they can afford to, if my rent is like $8,000, I can only imagine what their rent is. And, to have employees there cooking food and buying the food daily, and how much is going to waste because there's nobody in there. I ache for them.
I know. When we were at the memorial for Elizabeth Pearson on Friday,
which
was a beautiful memorial.
Yeah.
But Chris Keller and I started talking. And he still owns the Marine Room. And for those of you who don't know, Chris owned a number of restaurants in this town. He owned a number of restaurants in this town when Kaya was huge and popular, when the Rooftop was huge and popular. They had Big Fish and cold beer. They had Romari's. He had a number of restaurants in this town. Of course, he's out of the restaurant business now completely.
And he's got his hotel.
I don't know. I think he sold that as well.
Oh, really? Somebody else did? Yeah, Petit Palais, across from the Montage.
As well.
Oh, I thought that was his.
Yeah, but we were talking about the restaurants here in town, and there's just no solution because there's all kinds of things happening. It's not just our economy, it's the competition around us, and it's not just our local economy, it's the national economy.
Right.
It's the international economy that hasn't come back to us since COVID. There's a lot that's been going on. And, where do you point the finger, or where do you say, okay, let's start with the basics and see how we can help each and every one of these businesses stay alive? And that's where I think the responsibility is for the city.
But I never hear that conversation. And I'm one of them that could use assistance versus resistance.
Yeah.
And so, and I know from my perspective, I can only imagine what's happening for other people and the difficulties that they're having. We heard the sushi place, Oto Sushi, how difficult it was for her to get her signs, months that it was to get her signs. I know for me, it's been years to get my permits and signs. And it's difficult. It's not easy.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know. But there's quite a few prime spots that are closed right now that, right there next to the new coffee shop, all the way down to the gas station. There's a few closed.
Oh, you mean Better Buzz?
Yeah.
The new one that came in?
Right. But there's a few little stores in there. Remember there was the fudge and apples place?
Rocky Mountain Chocolate Factory. It was there for years.
And the sock place?
The sock place.
That's how I refer to them. I don't know what their names are.
I know.
I'm not a candy person, and I get white socks. But I love our town.
I know. I love
our town.
And we all wanted...
Coast Hardware, go.
We all wanted to be fixed. We all wanted to be fixed because we love it. But part of the reason why we are so responsible as residents is we are responsible for shopping at those places and eating at those restaurants.
Absolutely.
That is the key.
Yeah.
These people are our friends and our neighbors. They live here.
Absolutely.
And they run these restaurants. They run this retail. And it's just so important to be there for them as much as we can. Like Ramari's right across the street.
Right.
I still
Where
say
the lady's on the roof right
No, she's not on the Ramari roof. Don't worry, Ivan. She's not on your roof. It's the one next door.
There's somebody on the roof.
There's somebody on the roof. She's out there really
taking
close
pictures. I don't know what she's doing.
She's measuring. There must be a landlord or something. But at any rate, I tell people Ramari's is, I think, the best happy hour in town. It's absolutely amazing. The food's amazing. Happy hour is amazing.
And then
I hope to goodness people are listening.
We went to Morrow's place, who had a rough time at his little restaurant here in Laguna.
Yeah.
And then he went to
Royal
Hawaiian, had a rough time there, and then he went to Terra, and now he opened up his own and built it, and it's doing gangbusters.
In Laguna Niguel.
Right, not in town. Yeah, we lost a good, kind, wonderful, funny guy, and with good beef. Yeah.
Okay, on that note.
On the beef.
On the beef.
Where's the beef?
On the beef. We need to close up, guys, and say thank you again for being here. Ruben, thank you, everybody, for listening in on the show.
Tomorrow, come into the city council meeting, please. Downtown Specific Plan is up for talk. There's a lot you should hear.
Stop. We have to go. We love you guys. Thank you, and we will talk with you all later.